I know you're the one. Bum 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 bum. Bum bum ba bum 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 bum. Hello, everybody. I have a little bit of a different setup tonight. Come on in. Make yourselves at home. All right, we got Roulette and Joe are the first ones. I got my pencil. Yay. Good to see you guys. I was just taking part in a virtual campfire circle thingy-mabobber. That's why I am in a different place. Okay, Tammy, got you. Because I've been sitting here on this computer. Hey, Joe. Love you guys. And I didn't want to get up. I wanted to listen to it as long as humanly possible. So it was really, really good. So, thank you everyone for joining. My name is Patrick. I am your friendly neighborhood shaman. And we are going to do some medicine card readings as soon as I get organized here. Oh, that poster? Yeah, it's like one of my favorite. Susan Sudden-Boulay is one of my absolute favorite artists. She actually paints the way I see when I do shamanic journey. I mean, this is kind of the way when I'm journeying that I see things. So it really speaks to me. All right, so come on in, everybody. Welcome. And the way this works, if there's any newcomers, I'm going to pull the first 6 people who comment yes, get a 1-card reading. And if you're not one of those original 6 people, then go ahead and choose a number between 1 and 6. And even though that card may be aimed at someone else, you can kind of piggyback, and there will be something in that card for you as well, I promise. Because that's the way it always works. So, and my brain's a little. I'm at the same time that I'm trying to express myself, I'm also trying to integrate the things that I was just learning and just hearing, and went part of this really good virtual campfire circle about shamanism, and just it resonated so deeply, and it's given me so many ideas and inspiration of where to go, and kind of emphasizing the fact that all of the wisdom that our ancestors had access to, we still have access. Hi, Deb. Good to see you. Good to see you, Deb. Thanks for checking in. And Kevin, I got you. You are number 4. But it was just really super interesting. It's like the thing that the ancestors want to pass down to us is not information, but the relationship that they had with the land, with the spirits, with the ancestors. that in our modern day colonial consumerism, we think of spiritual growth as transactional when it's actually relational. And it was so cool to hear someone else saying the same words that I say in my shamanic classes about how shamanism is a relationship, and, you know. Hey, Cricket! Good to see you. And so, sorry, I might be a little distracted and tangenty. I don't know if that's even a word. But my only ask is, if you're watching this, to please share the video. You can share it on your own wall, or you can share it on, to someone else, or you can tag someone in the comments. Sharing is caring, and I appreciate. It's kind of, and then when you share, it's like I am so appreciate that, because it's kind of a word of mouth kind of referral recommendation, and that I so appreciate that. So, Esperanza, hey, how are you? So we have 2 spots left. If there's anyone that's watching that wants a 1-card reading. And of course I pull an extra card at the end to cover everyone. But if you want some personal guidance before that and you're not one of the original 6, you can go ahead and choose a number between 1 and 6 and listen to the guidance from that card. Awesome. Hey, Devin. Devlin. I'm sorry. Yes, Devlin, I have you, and Cricket are next. Awesome. And that is our 6. Good to see you guys. Alrighty, so, okay, let me get comfortable here again. Yeah, Valerie already got her card today. Actually, she got a couple of cards. So, alright. So here we go. So, Roulette, you are first. If you're just coming on wondering, what's going on? Why doesn't it look the same? I was on a call on a Zoom virtual fireplace. Oh yeah, Kevin, I know you guys do the breathwork thing before this. Valerie raves about it, so. But then I would be probably all out of breath when I'm trying to do this. I don't know. All right, Roulette. Card number 1. All right, Roulette. You got Deer. Okay. I'm trying to change gears because I was in this, like, integration thing and taking in information. Now I have to, like, shift gears, get into the place of tuning in and expressing. Awesome. So Roulette, what I saw with Deer is, Deer is about softness, gentleness, approaching things with compassion. And what I saw, like, I kind of got this vision of you as deer, kind of walking a little more gently, a little more mindfully through the world. And because of that softness, and because you've been answering your own, being more compassionate to yourself and following your own path of joy and love, you've been it's like that actual act of kindness and self-compassion has opened the way for you to find more compassion in the world. Does that make sense to you? Does that resonate? It's like, because when you fill up your own cup, then others, you don't feel so dependent on others to fill your cup. So you become more self-contained. And because you don't need anything from other people, you don't need to get power from someone else, or you're not giving your power up to someone else, that you are more complete in yourself. And therefore, you're able to have more compassion for those around you, for the conditions of the world around you, which is awesome. Because I know even a lot of spiritual memes are about, being spiritual and yet telling people to, smudge you, basically. And, it's like, and talking about being irritated by other people, and there is so much to be irritated by. There's so many people doing things differently from what we do. And so it's easy to get kind of pulled out of our center by what's going on around us because we're not getting our needs met. But you have been getting better and better at facing the trolls, facing the demons, and not letting, like I'll tell the story again because there might be someone that hasn't heard it. So one day, Great Spirit was on top of his mountain, and he was so joyful. It was such a beautiful day. He was looking at all of creation, and he was so filled with joy. He wanted to share that with all the woodland creatures. And so he invited every creature to come join him on top of his mountain to celebrate. The thing is that there was a troll that lived at the base of the mountain that all the other creatures and animals didn't want to encounter. They were afraid of it, or they didn't want to fight him. And so they didn't answer the invitation, other than Deer, who in her innocence was so excited to go party with the Great Spirit. She didn't care what was in the way. So she comes bounding in, and she gets to the base of the mountain, and the troll jumps out and roars in her face. And rather than becoming scared or upset or running away, she just looked at that troll with those big Bambi eyes, just kind of cocked her head and was like, "Why are you so angry? What did someone do to you to make you so angry, to hurt so much?" And the troll, who thrived on conflict and resistance, finding none, disappeared. And so through compassion, through those eyes of a child, the eyes of wonder, and seeing the divine being in front of her instead of the facade that he was projecting, she not only freed that troll from what was eating him up inside, but opened up the path to Great Spirit for all the other creatures. It wasn't battling. It wasn't, defeating your enemies or whatever. It was in the compassion of knowing that oneness of all life, seeing the connections rather than the divisions. And so that is what you are doing, Roulette. You're opening the door. You're facing down your own inner demons, your own trolls, that self-criticism, as well as the criticism of others around you who might be like, what the hell does she think she's doing? Who does she think she is? Um, and facing those down to realize that that has nothing to do with you, that you still have that innocence and purity. And I can hear you laughing as I say that, but you still have that innocence and purity about you. That makes you complete, that gives you that more compassionate view of yourself and everything you've been through. And that's what enables you to be able to see yourself more clearly from your own heart, and which opens that vision to be able to see other people's hearts rather. You know, I do know you. And to be able to see, it's that namaste thing, right? It's that the divine in me sees the divine in you. And once you see that light within yourself, you open the door for others to see that light within themselves. So by following your joy, by following your path, your calling, your vocation, whatever you want to call it, you are actually opening the path for other people to find their own joy and to open that path to great spirit for all those who live around you. So, thumbs up. Thumbs up. Good job. Awesome. And you may not want to think it, but you are innocent and pure. There's an even, how do I say this? Innocence and purity is more about authenticity and integrity than anything you do. So the more authentic you get, the more innocent and pure you become. And unlike our society thinks that innocence and purity needs to be protected, I won't tell Joe. Shh, it's our secret. Yeah. Innocence and purity is its own defense, its own protection. It's nothing that needs to be defended. It is actually its own protection. All right, Joe. Joe, never mind anything that was just said or any comments that were made. All right. So, Joe, card number 2. Ah. Holy crap. All right. Card number 2 for those who aren't getting a one card reading. And for Joe, you got the eagle. I just saw eagle. I was down at the river today. I called Eagle. I was hoping he would come and spend time with me sitting in the tree. But he circled above a couple of times and then went back to his nest. But, you saw an eagle today too. Awesome. You and Roulette, I tell you, you guys work so well together. It's So I was just telling the story about deer and finding the way to Great Spirit, opening the way for others to see this is Great Spirit. It's like you guys are so connected, and what one of you does helps boost the other one, which is the way it's supposed to be, right? So all that stuff I was just telling Roulette about finding her own heart, about seeing herself, seeing the divine within her, helping, it's like that has helped her to see even deeper the divine within you, and you've been finding it yourself as well. So Eagle, and Eagle is really about opening your heart. It's like when you spread your wings, you are opening your heart. And that spreading of the wings, that is the, what word am I looking for? It's like the posture of surrender, right? And so Eagle spreads his wings at the same time opening his heart. Whoops. My wings were a little too big. I knocked something over. And then because of that open heart, because of the wings spread in surrender, Spirit comes under the wings and carries you higher than you could ever get. You're so welcome for unbinding your wings. I'm still figuring that out. I don't know. That started like a couple of years ago when I'm doing soul retrievals. Sometimes the spirits ask me to unbind or to release people's wings. And so you have your wings, and again, you are divine. And the more you can connect into that depth of divineness, the more you will find that, it's like the further you open your heart, the further you spread your wings, the more the more surface area there is for the air, for the wind to lift you, right? And so without effort, you are carried to the highest heights, where you can see the perspective of everything, right? You see the non-linear nature of reality, because everything is laid out in that patchwork, quilt below you. And you see how all the parts exist simultaneously, how they're all interconnected, and yet you have the ability with those eagle eyes to focus on something, focus on a rabbit that is miles away from you. And so it's like you're more and more, you are surrendering into your natural state of divineness. Like Artemis, the goddess Artemis, is kind of my your mom, Devlin, your mom calls you Eagle Eyes. That's awesome. Nothing escapes your vision. You can have that peripheral vision, that broad vision, and at the same time, at like the slightest movement, choom, you can focus on something. Shoot, what was I going to say? Oh, Artemis. Artemis is my matron goddess, and So I talk to her a lot. She gives me a lot of guidance. And one of the things that she tells me over and over again is don't give up, just surrender. And it is so simple. It's not easy to do, but it's like the more you surrender, the easier it is for Spirit to carry you where you need to go. It's not up to you to figure things out. That's the surrendering. You surrender the need to figure things out. You surrender the that egoistic role of, being in charge and all of that kind of thing. So that's the surrender, but you don't give up because you know your dreams are possible. You know that anything is possible. If you can feel it, if there is a desire within you, you can attain it, whatever it is. In fact, I did the pipe ceremonies, pipe circle that I lead every other Sunday. This past weekend, we did this guided meditation. And it just kind of came to me this past week to remind us that, when we try to manifest something, we're focusing on the scarcity. We're focusing on the lack of what it is that we want, right? But the fact is, you wouldn't be aware of that lack unless there was something to fill it, unless you knew what it felt like to be fulfilled. And so when we manifest, when we focus on trying to manifest something, a lot of times we're separating ourselves from whatever that is, when actually whatever it is already a part of us. And so we did this guided meditation to connect to the spirit of whatever it was we were trying to connect to. Because, okay, without going on too many tangents, when I first took a class on how to teach shamanism, we were doing a journey. We had just met our guide, our spirit guide, who was going to help us with teaching. Mine is a great horned owl named Hortense. Hortense here's a hoo hoo. But then we did a journey to talk to our spirit guide to find out what was going to be the focus of our teaching. And this was in downtown Seattle. And as soon as we started journeying, a car alarm started going off in the street below us. And I could hear everyone else was pulled out of their journey. Like, they're grumbling, that stupid car, stupid alarm. It distracted me. I couldn't journey with it. But everything I had learned up to that point told me that everything that happens in a journey, everything that happens in ceremony is supposed to be there, right? And so instead of coming out of the journey, I just stayed with it. I'm like, okay, what is the message of this horn? What's this car horn represent? And those of you who are younger might not get the reference, but all of a sudden I had the realization that it was Herbie the Love Bug. And the message being that everything has consciousness, everything communicates with us, everything has a voice. And so when we realize that, then even like whatever you can name, whatever, like anything that's a noun, a person, place, or thing, a situation, a quality, an organization, if you can name it, it has a spirit that can be communicated with. So when you're going to manifest something, you can communicate with the spirit of whatever that is. And in that way, realize that there is no separation. Because if we communicate, we've created relationship. If there's a relationship, you're connected to whatever that is. And the more you connect with it and realize it's part of you, the quicker it is going to show up in your life. So, I'm not sure who needed to hear that, if that was for Joe exactly. But Joe, you have found your wings. You've had your wings, and you're learning how to soar. You're learning that you don't have to try so hard. Because when you spread your wings, Spirit carries you. And it's effortless. So awesome. Good job. All right. Okay, it might be kind of a long one tonight. I always try to squeeze it into an hour. And we're a half hour in, and we've only done 2 cards so far. So let's see. Tammy, you are next. And if you weren't here in time to get a card, like to claim a card reading, choose a number between 1 and 6. We're actually going on to card number 3. And that, there will be a message in there for you, I promise. So we're going on number 3 for Tammy. Hi, Marcy. Yep, Chatty Shaman. All right. So Tammy, card number 3. All right, Tammy. Oh, I like that, loquacious leader. I love that. All right, card number 3 for Tammy. You got the hawk. Oh my God, this is so perfect for you, Tammy. Hawk is the messenger of the gods. And Tammy, I don't know anybody else who is so hyper aware of the messages coming from the gods, from the universe, than you. I actually mentioned you, not by name, but at the pipe circle I do on Sundays. I mentioned you for that fact that oh, Joe, you saw a hawk tormenting the crows? That's odd. Usually it's the other way around. That's interesting. So, Tammy. Okay. So you're really good at getting the messages, right? Hearing the messages from the universe. But the messenger not only receives the messages, the messenger delivers the messages as well. Oh, awesome, Becky. Hey, Becky, good to see you. You had a couple hawks today. That's awesome. You know, hawk is a really good example of what we call the hollow bone in shamanism, right? Because hawk is the bridge between heaven and earth. You know, whereas we were just talking about eagle, who just soars above everything, kind of untouchable. Hawk is the one who is more constantly up and down. Up in the sky, down on the earth. Up in the sky. So Hawk is kind of like Hermes. He's the the messenger of the gods, the one that can go. Hermes was the only god that could go to Olympus and go to the underworld, go to Hades without any trouble. And so he was the messenger of the gods in ancient Greece. And Hawk is that bridge. Hawk is the hollow bone. If you think, oh my God, they're so funny. The vision they just gave me was the vacuum tubes, like at the bank when you put your deposit in or whatever, and then you hit the button and it just is like, that's the hollow bone. It's like sending that message, sending that information or that energy to someone else and then bringing it back. And so it's becoming that hollow bone through which spirit can speak to the world. You are what helps to make spirit manifest in the world. Just like the Pony Express, right? You get the letters and you take them and you deliver the letters. So it's this constant giving and receiving, giving and receiving. But it's kind of like in healing, kind of like in Reiki, where, you're not giving your own energy to a client. You're not giving your own energy to someone who needs healing. You're opening up to universal energy and allowing it to come through, to flow through you to that person. And as a result, you get all that healing as well because you've got that energy coming through you. So you get a healing as well. And so by being the messenger of the gods, it's the same thing. The spirits are moving through you into the world, whether it's through, being the eyes or the voice or the hands of spirit, you're receiving that connection as well. And so, okay. Tammy, have you ever considered doing a podcast? I was going to say book, and we've talked about that before. Like, I think you're meant to write a book or 12. But all of a sudden, podcast came into my mind. And I think that would be a really great... yeah, I know. I think that would be a really good outlet. Because if we keep receiving things, we're going to get blocked up, right? You are actually doing one, looking into it? Awesome. Yeah, because in order to keep receiving, you have to keep clearing that hollow bone to make room for what else is coming in. And so the more you share it, the more room there is for more to come through. So you got your marching orders. That is so cool. I love when that happens. Awesome. All right. So next is Kevin. Card number 4. All right. All right, Kevin, You got the fox, card number 4. For some reason, I'm thinking... Roulette, you're singing along, huh? I swear you've gotten this card before. But Fox is the shapeshifter. Fox is the ninja. Marcy, you picked, oh my God. Marcy, you picked 4 too. That is so funny. That is really funny. Oh, you're welcome, Roulette, for the earworm. And Becky, you picked 4 and you had a bad experience with a company called Fox. That's interesting. God, you can't make this stuff up. Foxy. So Fox is kind of the ninja of the animal kingdom. And Fox medicine is really about seeing without being seen. So it's that stealth mode, and it's having the... Now I've got Ant-Man and Wasp in my head. It's about misdirection. It's about, the close-up magic. It's Fox in like almost every culture. Fox is known as the one with illusion, like the power of illusion and the power of glamour to make you think they are one thing when they're actually something else, to cast illusions, to even in like foxes are so sly and so cunning. When it comes to them, there is no box. There's no thinking outside the box because there is no box. Would you, could you with a fox? Would you, could you in a box? And so it's about seeing. In order to be the master of illusion that Fox is, to be able to lay like false trails or to disappear while you're looking at them, make you think they're one place when they're someplace else, in order to be the master of the illusion that he is, you have to be able to recognize the illusion of reality. And Kevin, for you, I think that has to do... Well, I think you probably know what I'm talking about. It's like seeing the reality beneath reality, and we've talked about timelines before and stuff, right? And like seeing the different branching timelines and how they kind of will intersect and then go off on their own. All these different things that play into what we perceive as this one true reality, when there are so many different realities around us interacting and interplaying, that when you start to recognize that, you're able to utilize that and and it's not... So there's a cautionary tale here, because fox is so closely related to coyote, right? Fox is himself a trickster. One of the things, if you didn't know, if you can look closely at the eyes, fox is technically a canine, but he's got feline eyes. There's something different about Fox. He's not exactly who he claims to be or who he seems to be. And so, but there is that cautionary tale about not taking things too seriously, because you can get overwhelmed by all the vast realities, all the vast things. Cat dog, yeah. Going on around. It can become kind of a deer in the headlights. Going back to our first card, yes, very Loki, very much like Loki medicine. And you can get so into the illusion that you lose touch with reality, with your reality, and you can start to believe some of your own illusions. And basically, then that's coyote medicine, is that tripping over your own tail, like Wile E. Coyote getting caught in his own traps. And so Fox, just like Loki, not getting caught up in his own magic and his own illusion, thinking that what he's creating as an illusion, as that glamour, remembering that that isn't really what he is. So, along the lines of deer medicine again, there's that seeing more deeply within you. If everything around you is illusion, where's your point of reference, right? You are the only real thing in your world. You are the starting point. You are the alpha and the omega. And that's where you have to, that's key to navigating the illusion and utilizing the illusion. And you can, fox medicine out of balance can be like creating that cloak of invisibility to hide from the world, to hide from life. Or you can use that ability of illusion to help people see their own vision of what can be, right? You can cast that illusion to help other people actually visualize their highest good, and then you use the cloak of invisibility to disappear from the scene, so that person can't, like Bruce Lee said, don't mistake the finger pointing at the moon for the moon itself, right? And so you can give them the benefit of taking credit for their vision rather than the one who showed them the way, right? So when you have fox medicine, the world is your playground. The world is your sandbox. Because when you realize everything is illusion, there's nothing that you can't do. It kind of becomes that taking out of the, like, eliminating the fourth wall, like they talk about in plays and TV shows and that kind of thing. It's like shattering the fourth wall, where you're not just a character in a show anymore. You're actually talking to the audience or talking to the creators and that kind of thing. So it's like seeing behind the curtain. You are the man behind the curtain. I hope that makes sense, Kevin. I know I've been talking around and around in different things, but I hope that makes sense. I hope that resonates, and I hope there's a message in there for you. All right, card number 5. Devlin. It's so good to have you with us, Devlin. I always enjoy your company, and let's see. Bum ba 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 da bum bum ba bum 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 ba ba dee bum. Bum bum ba da ba 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 bum 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 ba ba dee bum. All right. All right, Devlin. Card number 5. Yep, 5. Devlin, you got the elk, and it came up reversed. So, oh, cool. I can't wait to hear that. So Kevin says it was so on track for today, and to ask Valerie, my fiance, what you saw during the breath work. I can't wait. Awesome. You're welcome. So Devlin, elk is about stamina. Elk is about, well, elk's main defense, other than the antlers and the sharp hooves, is the ability to outpace predators, right? Predators tend to be sprinters. They depend on this, they depend on surprise and this burst of speed. But if elk can avoid that, the predators, they run out of steam right away. Whereas elk can run for hours and hours at the same pace without getting tired. And so in reverse, it can be, I don't know if you're feeling like under the weather or feeling a lack of power, a lack of energy, overwhelm. In reverse, it can be like elk that's been over, like the pack of wolves has surrounded them and they're all like jumping in and taking them down, can be the feeling of that. But just know that what do I want to say? You have a resilience that is unbelievable. So when you don't have the energy, rest. Take care of yourself. Elk in reverse is not a sign that I got to get up going. I need to get running. I need to get, someplace else. In reverse, it's recognizing. So the antlers on elk's head. Antlers are, how did they put it? The fastest growing organic material, or the fastest growing thing outside of cancer, like for animals. The antlers are the fastest growing organism outside of cancer. And so there's a cyclical thing. There's a cycle. The antlers grow and then they drop off. And then the next year they grow and they drop off. So right now you are in kind of that time where you don't have the antlers. The antlers have dropped off. And the antlers grow when there's that vitality. It's like moving toward rutting season, where there's a lot of vitality and vibrancy and energy, right? And when they drop off, that vitality and stuff drops off as well. And so it's like realizing that you're in the rhythm, in a cycle, just like the earth has summer and winter. You have your own personal summers and winters. And in the wintertime, it's easy to feel overwhelmed by everything coming at you because you don't have that vitality, because you don't have that defensiveness to protect yourself. And so the key is to recognize where you are in that cycle, to realize that you're in the winter of your own personal, what's the word I'm looking for? It's like a circle. So don't push yourself. Don't push yourself to do the things that you normally are capable of doing when you're at your full strength, okay? There is a time for action and there is a time for rest. And when you're overwhelmed, when you have no energy, that is a sign from your body, that's a sign from the universe that it is time to rest. And rest is not a luxury. Rest is necessary to your well-being, okay? Because just because you're overwhelmed and tired right now doesn't mean you're going to be that way forever. Do everything, turn, turn, turn. Exactly, Roulette. There is a season, turn, turn, turn. So, especially, like I heard from one place, it's like, don't be the enemy in your own encampment. Don't allow the inner critic, the inner judge to tell you you're worthless because you have no energy. It's just like breathing. You have to take air in order to blow air out. You have to inhale in order to exhale, right? And so in order to express in the world, you need to have downtime. Because, what happens when we are, I'm speaking totally from experience here, when we are run down, when we are tired all the time, when everything is overwhelming to us, it's a sign that we have overrun our battery charge. We're running out of energy, right? And it's like there's the physical you, and then there's the deeper inner you. And sometimes, just because on the outside we're tired, doesn't mean you're not growing, you're not changing, you're not learning. A lot of times when you're tired on the outside, it's because all the energy has gone to a depth within you that you don't even realize. And there's so many changes taking place behind the scenes, below the surface, that we have no extra energy on the outside. In our society, You know, it's like you got to keep going, 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 no matter how you feel. So just shove it down, ignore it. You're out of energy, take more caffeine or whatever, right? But there are changes, just like the growth of the antlers, right? Down to the DNA. There's changes, there's growth taking place. It's like the seed in the earth growing in the darkness. If you continually like dig up the seed to see if it's growing, it's not going to grow, right? And so it's allowing the seed to sleep, knowing that inside the seed there are magical changes taking place. There is alchemy there. So yeah, don't shove down your feelings. Allow yourself to feel overwhelmed. And then it's kind of like, so how many times have you felt overwhelmed in your life? And how many times have you come through that to realize there was nothing there to that overwhelm? That whatever you were overwhelmed by, whatever was oversaturating, is that the word? Satiating yourself, once you gained yourself back, those things were nothing, or you found a way through them, right? So trust cyclical nature. Trust that you are going through different seasons. You have been here before, and you have come through it with flying colors. Recognize you're in the winter. Recognize you're in the dark. When you're in the dark, you are meant to sleep. You are meant to rest, because there are different changes, energies going on deeper. And when those come to fruition, then that energy, just like springtime, when the flowers start to sprout from the earth, that energy will start to sprout, and you will find that energy again, and there'll be no stopping you. So you can even make a list of all the times in the past when there have been fears or doubts that were overwhelming to you, and then that you came out. You know, hold on one second. Let me show you something. So this is something I started doing for myself. I have a bigger one that I did. So I used to have really bad anxiety and panic attacks on a daily basis. So I was constantly overwhelmed, constantly had fears in my face. And I read about how, the big feathered head dresses that the chiefs wear and such. And sometimes they're called war bonnets. Every eagle feather in one of those headdresses, even the ones that go all the way down to the ground, every feather is a battle that person survived. And I read that. And so this in particular is from a different period of my life when I had a lot of things going on. But every time I had a fear come up or I was overwhelmed and I got through it, I gave myself an eagle feather. Look at all the eagle feathers. And so by doing that, you remind yourself, if you can do something like that, give yourself a feather every time you come through something. Pretty soon, it becomes a sign of strength rather than weakness. And every time you get into that place of feeling weak, of overwhelm, of anxiety or whatever, you can look at this as the evidence of all the battles that you have survived. And remember that whatever the battle ahead of you, you will survive that as well. Okay? Yes, they are faux. They are not real eagle feathers. These are the goose feathers that you can get at like Joann's or Michael's. They're goose feathers that are dipped in black. So they are fake eagle feathers because real eagle feathers are illegal to have. And that's all I'm going to say about that. But yeah, so giving yourself that physical, visual reminder of how strong you are helps immensely every time you have something else come up. Okay? So I hope that is helpful, Devlin. I hope that, and if you need help, you can ask. I can help you do something like that too. I would love to help set something up for you like that. All right. So we have reached card number 6. All right. So those are mostly when I was going through a narcissistic relationship and I had to try to leave it and that. So, okay, Devlin, I would love to help. I will help. I will see what I can figure out. I can talk to your folks and see what we can do. So this is a buffalo rib. And I've got a few more buffalo ribs. This is based on a ceremonial bison rib bow. It's like a bow, like a bow and arrow, but it's more ceremonial for dancing and such. But I have a couple more, at least a couple of more buffalo ribs, and I can definitely let you have one, and we can create something like this for you. Alrighty. Awesome. All right, number 6. Card number 6 for Cricket. My friend Cricket. Not sure if you're still there because I know you're out east somewhere. I know it's getting late for you. You're so welcome, Devlin. You're so very welcome. All right. All right, Cricket. You are just so welcome, Devlin. I'm glad to help. So, Cricket, card number 6 is dog. Dog is about, of course, loyalty. And heart. I mean, dog probably has the biggest heart of the animal kingdom, right? There's a story about, at one point, humans and animals lived together, spoke together, and at one point, Creator decided that humans needed to step apart from animals, and so he created he opened the earth between them, like this huge crevice, with humans on one side and all the animals on the other side. And at the last minute, dog jumped from the animal side to the human side so that he could be the companion to humans. So dog is about loyalty. Dog is about guardianship. Dogs have always been our guardians. They've been the ones that protect us. They're our protectors, our guardians, our playmates. Just feeling into it a little more for you, Cricket. Okay, Cricket, know that you are being watched over, and there is nothing, you are safe, okay? There is nothing anyone can do to you, because you have so much protection. You have so many spirits, guardians, that there is nothing that can get through them to you. I don't know if that makes sense to you. I'm not sure if that resonates with something you're going through. But just know that you are safe. And that, like Kyle Cease says, the best protection is an open heart. And I mean, I talk about this all the time about, I just said it earlier about innocence and purity, you know, innocence being its own protection. And when you're living with an open heart, it's kind of like that Zen saying about how you can't grasp water. You know, you try to grab water and it's just going to spill through all your fingers. It's just going to escape your grasp. But if you hold your hands open, that's the only way you can hold water. That's the only way you can catch water. And it's the same with our hearts. If we're grasping for protection, we're grasping for safety, you're never going to find it because there's always going to be something else to be afraid of. But when we open our hearts, we open ourselves to receive that river of light and love coming from Spirit, from Creator. And it's, you know, opening up to, rather than like a closed heart, sees only division, sees only separation, sees them and me. And so there's always a threat. There's always something there to be afraid of. But when you open your heart, you're opening to the connection and the unity of all things. To realize there is no separation. And if that thing or that person isn't separate from me, it's a part of the same source energy I am. And so number one, there's nothing to be ultimately to be afraid of. Number two, you know, dog medicine is about self-love. You know, we think about dog medicine sometimes and we get it backwards, you know, this whole thing about being loyal to those who even kick you and hate you, and but that is like that's dog medicine that's out of balance. Dog medicine is about loving yourself, finding your own heart, expressing that, you know, and again, like when you find your heart, you open your heart, have compassion. We're going full circle back to deer medicine now, the first card, but it's opening your heart to yourself. By doing that, you change the light the frequency that you radiate into the world, and thus you change the relationship you have with the outside world. And like vibration attracts like vibration. So by loving yourself, you raise yourself above anyone who might be threatening you, any situation that you might find threatening. By loving yourself, you will draw to yourself those companions who are also complete in themselves, who realize that their power comes from source, not from a power struggle, politics, needing to negotiate for your power from someone else. You are complete in yourself, and by doing so, you draw to yourself your pack, your tribe, those who are whole unto themselves, who can support you in times when you are feeling weak. They will support you, not take your power away, but remind you of the power that is already within you. Does that make sense? And it kind of goes along with what I was saying earlier about manifesting things. You know, we're trying to manifest something, we're actually separating ourselves from it. We're focusing on the lack of that, and we create that chasm, that separation from that thing. And the same thing, when we're afraid of something, it's interesting. It's as I'm speaking, I don't know what I'm going to say next, but it's starting to fall into place. And when you're afraid of something, it's kind of the reverse of manifesting, because when we're trying to manifest, we push it away from us. You know, whenever you're chasing something, pursuing something, you're pushing it further away. But when you're afraid of something, that emotional charge actually draws that fear to you. I never saw the connection there until just this moment. And so, but even then, ultimately, even if you draw I just did a soul retrieval for someone the other day, and it went back to a soul piece they lost in a past life when they were in Africa. And they were the son of a shaman, and they believed in their dad. They had total faith in their dad and his powers as the shaman for the village. But then he was training to become, the next shaman of the village. So he had to do this initiation. One of the rites of passage, one of the initiations, was to swim across this river that was infested with crocodiles. And the idea being, if you were empowered, if you had your guides with you, your protectors with you, you could do so unscathed, right? But because he believed in his father's power, but not his own power, he panicked, gave in to fear, and of course the crocodiles reacted in kind, and he died in that life. And then it was so I had to do a little psychopomp, because he was kind of caught in that moment of death because it was so traumatic. But when I reached out to his father, the shaman, who had already passed on way beyond, his father was able to come back and get him and help him pass over all the way. And once he crossed into the light, he saw the lesson that he was still there. He wasn't physically alive, but he was still alive. And even his worst fears manifesting couldn't take away from him his own innate power, his own innate divineness. And why am I telling you this? So that even when you're afraid of something, even if your worst fears were to manifest, that also in a strange way is a gift, because ultimately it validates your that you are greater than anything you fear. Is that making sense to people? I don't know if I just kind of went way out, but it's like the story of the owl and not owl, rabbit. When Rabbit saw Eagle flying over and said, "Eagle, I'm really afraid of you. Don't come and eat me." And the eagle didn't hear him, so he jumps up on a log, starts waving his arms in the air, saying, "Eagle, I'm really afraid of you. Please don't eat me." Of course, the second time the eagle heard Rabbit, swooped down and ate Rabbit, right? So there's that cautionary tale again about when you're afraid of something, you're drawing it to you. But ultimately, so Eagle comes down and eats Rabbit, and Rabbit's consciousness melds with Eagle's consciousness. Suddenly, Rabbit is above everything. So we're coming back to your card, Joe. All of a sudden, Rabbit is looking through Eagle's eyes, soaring above the earth, seeing how there is nothing to be afraid of. And so sometimes the manifestation of our fears can be a gift. Not that you're manifesting your fears. It's kind of like the point of this is to tell you that you are greater than anything you can fear. Anything you fear, anything that you're afraid of, you are greater than it. Because you have been here before time began, and you are going to be here way after time ends. You are part of source energy. You are eternal. And so the ironic thing is when you stop being afraid of things and start loving yourself, you start to draw to yourself those things that support you in a healthy way, to support you in your wholeness, in your well-being, to remind you of who you actually are. Yeah, Marcy, Eagle is not as he seems, as he is part of Rabbit. Exactly. It's that constant. It's almost like life is is like a lava lamp, right? You got these gloopy things glooping into each other and then going apart and then coming back. Like one of the things I said this past Sunday is, you know, everything has a spirit. Everything is alive. And so we are basically living in a soup of consciousness. And just like a soup, so you have chicken noodle soup. That soup has a consciousness. The entire batch of the soup has a consciousness. When you put the soup into a bowl, that bowl of soup has its own consciousness. And then within that bowl, every noodle has its own consciousness. And every piece of chicken has its own consciousness. And every drop of broth has its own consciousness. So we live in a soup of consciousness. And you are the center of your world. You are the center of reality. There is no other way to perceive anything outside of you than through your senses. Therefore, you are the center of your reality. And who you are is eternal, divine love. It's kind of along the lines of, if you build it, they will come. When you stop being afraid, when you stop, wow, this is just going way out there. Thank you for staying with me through this. This is awesome. Crap. I interrupted the flow and it just, Hold on a minute. Let me get it back. So one of the things Abraham Hicks says is that your guidance will never lead you to protect yourself from something else. Your guidance will always lead you to a higher expression of who you are. Your guidance always takes you towards something, not away from something else. And that's a whole nother kettle of fish that I need to not talk about, or we'll be here for another hour. But you are love. You are worth loving. You deserve every ounce of love that you can give yourself. It's not just something you have. It's who you are. And in that love, you are protected. And you draw to yourself all of the circumstances, all of the beings you need to be the guardians, to support you on your journey forward to your highest potential. Okay? Whew. Alrighty then. So I hope that made sense. I hope that helps you, Cricket. Holy crap. Oofda. Alright, so one more card. A card for everybody, whether you got a personal card or not tonight. Okay, they're saying to shuffle them up a little more. All right, everybody. So the card for everybody for this week is Snake reversed. So this is kind of the theme of tonight. Have compassion for yourself. This is a time Roulette, you're so funny. Apparently, Roulette and Joe have this game going that they drink every time I say oofda. So there you go. And she's been holding off on taking a drink for an hour, waiting for me to say it. So, Snake, Snake in reverse is kind of like I was talking about the cycle of the antlers earlier. Snake in reverse is a time when Snake is shedding its skin. You are literally outgrowing your reality. You are bursting out of the skin of what you've known thus far. And that is a scary time. That is a vulnerable time. The old ways no longer work. The old skin is shredding. And so the old skin, the old constructs can no longer hold you, can no longer support who you are becoming. And at the same time, the new skin underneath is new skin. And so it's tender. It's like, when you get a cut and your skin's growing back, it's tender to the touch for a while. So the new skin is sensitive and tender, and the old skin is dry, and it's itchy and uncomfortable. And the other thing is that when Snake is shedding his skin, his eyes are part of the skin that is being shed. So while he is in that process of shedding the skin, he is literally blind. He is in the dark and cannot see ahead of him. So take care of yourselves. Have compassion for yourselves. So this week, don't push yourself beyond what you can handle. Like they say, some days 100% is 100%. Some days 10% is your 100%, right? So you need that time to recover. You need that time for that old skin to finally peel off so that you can get your sight again, number one, and for that new skin to solidify to a point where it's not as... I was talking earlier to Roulette about, being sensitive, like being irritated by other people. And it's like that there's a reason that skin is tender. Because the snake needs to feel the itchiness of that dry skin, because that's what motivates him to rub against the trees and the rocks in order to shed the skin. And so once that skin no longer needs to be that sensitive and it solidifies, then you have, again, that the parameters of your life, of your reality, that can hold you. Again, you are being held by the universe in a way that can contain you. It's like, our lives are span like a tree, like the tree rings, right? And so each time we have those rings, it's like growing beyond those to a more expansive life, a more expansive awareness. And that time is not an easy time, because everything is different. The rules don't work anymore. But it is a time of birth, of rebirth. And while that time is going on, you have to give yourself the benefit of the doubt and nurture yourself. Right now is a time of self-nurturing. Do something special for yourself. Let yourself call in sick. Let yourself stay in bed for a day. Whatever it is, take a walk out in the woods, whatever you need to do to recharge, to feel safe, to feel like the universe is holding you. Do that, okay? Whew. All right. So that is our readings for today, for this week. If you would like a more in-depth reading with more cards that is personally crafted for you by the spirits, by your guidance, we can do that. You can visit my website. Oh, you're so welcome, Tammy. You can visit my website, perchingwolfstudios.net, and you can sign up for a reading right then and there. You can see the other shamanic services I offer. And the classes, I've got some classes coming up. Let's see, what else? Oh, and I wanted to send a special thank you to those of you who keep supporting me. I always say, like, this is my day job, and so I gratefully accept any donations people want to make to support me, to support their local shaman, and to help me better be able to support my community. Because the more support I get that way, the less I have to worry about I don't have the distractions, and I can focus on my path and on the messages that I'm learning so that I can pass them on to you. So I just wanted to thank those that have been doing that. I see you and I appreciate you so much. It really makes a difference. And, you know, your money is your energy. It's what you've earned, toiled with the sweat of your brow, and to give it towards something. We spend money on what's important to us, and so to realize that I am apparently helping, and that I'm important enough for people to support. I don't know if that came out right, but it humbles me, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart. With that said, my PayPal information will be beneath this video. I will share this video to my Facebook page, and I will upload it to my Perching Wolf Studios YouTube channel. And so if you want to rewatch this, you can check it. It'll be on my Facebook page. And you can also check out my YouTube channel, where I have like 3 years worth of these readings, these weekly readings and ceremonies and songs and stories and all kinds of stuff. So check that out. Subscribe. I guess that helps me put it higher into the algorithms or whatever, if you subscribe, if you like my videos. So I appreciate that as well. Is there anything else? And if you're interested, I also do a Facebook Live on Wednesday nights at 7, where I do the sacred pipe ceremony and basically hold space for about an hour or so to give people the opportunity to connect to spirit, to connect within themselves, to take the world off your shoulders and to breathe. So if that sounds good to you, join me here, same place, Wednesday night at 7, and we will do that as well. So I think that is everything for now. It's probably not everything, but it's probably everything I need to say for the moment. So thank you guys. Thank you for your perseverance and staying with me this entire, we're almost at an hour and 40 minutes. So thank you so much. It means everything to me to have you supporting me in that way. So thank you. I love you. I see you, and I honor you. Have a wonderful week, everybody. Go shining. All right. Bye for now.